You're the executive director of the Hmong Heritage. Tarchin, you've studied research of Hmong history. Amazing. You've studied history, culture, and related ethnical histories. You're the author of the book, Hmong China History and Heritage Preservations, that explores the historical roots and cultural legacy of the Hmong people. We're very excited for what you're going to talk about right now. Best of luck, and I'm sure you're going to do just fine.
Thank you, thank you.
Just go like that if you use the next slide, yeah?
Okay, thank you. Hello.
Hello.
The United Kingdom and the international communities and everyone here. My name is Tarchin Cha. I am a Hmong scholar. How is everyone here today? Great? Everybody's happy to be here? That's great. I myself is so excited to be here. But at the same time, I am emotionally distressed because I have to go by someone else's identity in order to exist. May I have my Hmong delegation please arise? Thank you. I'm not the only one. We have Hmong globally that are facing suppression and marginalization. That's why we are here today, to talk to you about the unrecognized identity of the Hmong nation, a people erased from history and societies. Within national and international systems, ethnic and national identities play a critical role in shaping access to rights, cultural preservation, and historical recognition. However, not all groups are afforded equal acknowledgement. Hmong nation and people is one such community that has been marginalized and erased. So we will be examining the historical, social, and political factors that contributed to the marginalization of the Hmong people. In addition, we will talk about the consequences of classification issue. Last but not least, we are here to advocate for recognition for the Hmong as a fundamental human right grounded in the international law. So let's look at the historical background. Who are the Hmong people? Hmong exists in both northern and eastern Asia, which are now the northern steppes and the Yellow River basins. They've been there for the last 4,000 years and beyond. For centuries, Hmong contributed to the cultural, historical, and political developments of these regions. Historical records supports the existence of Hmong people and supports that Hmong had governance and nation building of multiple kingdoms. For example, the Bible annals, the historical books of Tang, Song, Yuan, and other classical records document the Hmong people, describe the Hmong as being the government of Zhou dynasty, Sui dynasty, Tang dynasty, Song dynasty, the Great dynasty, Do Chou, and the Hmong dynasty. These records support a long-standing of our Hmong people and our historical existence that extends beyond modern classification. Yet, since the foundation of the People's Republic of China, PRC, the PRC systematically classified and redefined various ethnics into national groups for administrative and political purposes. The Hmong was excluded as one of the national groups, while 56 national groups were defined and recognized. Among these 56 approved classifications, Hmong populations in various regions were reclassified with other communities into several national groups, including Han, Mongolian, Tu, Turkic, Miao, and others. Now let's take a moment to look at the Miao-Su classification as an example of classification issue. Hmong communities were also established in the southwest of China, which is in that green circle. These Hmong are descendants from Hmong refugees who took refuge into the canyons and mountains of this region after the fall of Hmong Kingdom. Many of these Hmong communities were grouped with the Miao, Ma-Yi communities into Miao-Su category. Miao-Su is transliterated as the Hua Hmong in the West. Hua Hmong and Miao are the same. The problem here is that the Hmong national history and culture were excluded, while the Hua Hmong Miao history and culture were documented and recognized as a whole. This narrative, approved by the PRC government, was accepted into Southeast Asia and the West administrative systems. Though administratively efficient, this has led to the marginalization and erasure on the Hmong. So let us look at what's the difference between the Hmong and the Hua Hmong Miao people. Both Hmong and Hua Hmong were documented in literatures and classical records with two distinct character names. They are not merely different spellings, but they represent two distinct historical narratives, two distinct cultural lineages. They have different ancestors. They have different identities. So let us look at the Hmong first. Hmong, as previously stated, are people of the northern steppes and the Yellow River basins. They lived there for the last 4,000 years and beyond. For the last several centuries, they emigrated into the south. Historical records describe the Hmong during the Hmong kingdoms as having authorities over other groups, including the Hua-Yi Han, Miao, Ma-Yi, and others. During the time of our kingdoms, the Hmong built cities and were accustomed to living in ground-level, foundation-based homes. They also built state structural government and state laws. I'm going to give you an example. One of the state laws that Hmong enforced throughout the Hmong kingdoms was the marriage law. Hmong prohibited marriage among the same family name. It doesn't matter how many generations. If you have the same family name, no marriage. Okay? Our Hmong traditional belief system was centered on worshiping the universal God, the thunder god, which the Hmong also revere and honor our ancestors, including the great Hao, Fanti, the great Jimchok, Mongol land princess, and others. We call the universal God, thunder god, and our ancestor Fanti for guidance, blessing, and protection. Our symbolic imageries reflect the Hmong cosmology and environment, which include heaven and earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, and other icons such as the eagle, the horse. Horsemanship has long been a defined cultural element of the Hmong way of life. We are accustomed to riding horses. That's why we wear baggy pants. Hmong men were known to wear baggy pants for the last several thousand years. This is our tradition. Our attire includes batik, wax, embroidered clothing, which women wear embroidered skirts, leggings, aprons, headscarf, turbans, or hats. Both men and women wear long coats split by the legs. Both also were known to wear coral-toe shoes or boots. These cultural elements and historical accounts reflect the identity of the Hmong. Now let's look at the Hmong. The Hmong identity, based on their historical literatures and their national history. They were known as the Mai Jiuli people, who were original Southerners. They emigrated north and were forced to go back down south. They found the Sun Miao Kingdom in the central south. They were known as the Miao, Miao Man, Miao Ming, Nanman, Baiye, Mai, Dongyi, who later found the Chu Man Kingdom in the south. When we say south, I'm referring to southern China. Traditionally, these people were known to live in lowland, which they are accustomed to living in stout homes. Rice paddy agriculture was the main aspect, or has been the main aspect of their way of life. Their living arrangement and environment reflects their symbolic icons, including rice paddy, oxen horns, snakes, dragons, and other demonic motifs. The Hmong Miao people worship their ancestors, including Shiyo, their ancestor, the red demonic Dongshan, and their ancestor, the white-faced demonic Nanshan. Their attire is very distinct, which women traditionally wear pants, which now they occasionally wear plain skirts, which is considered an assimilation. The men traditionally wear skirt as a custom. Since the Qing dynasty, they also switched to wearing crop pants. It's very clear that the Hmong and the Hmong are distinctively different. The problem here is when subsuming Hmong on the Hmong Miao people and teaching the Hmong Miao history and culture to the Hmong people, that has led to marginalization and erasure on the Hmong. Importantly, Hmong individuals who self-identify as the Hmong Miao heritage has every right to assert and protect their cultural identity. Respecting this self-identification and recognition is essential. However, this right and recognition has not been extended equally to the Hmong. So without recognition, our Hmong people has faced several challenges. Classification issue has led to several consequences. First of all, without recognition, there's been a cultural and historical erasure on the Hmong because our history, our culture are not being taught in the public education. If they are taught, they are being reclassified or redefined as belonging to somebody else. Without recognition, our Hmong people face systemic reclassification. That means that we are required to go by somebody else's identities in order to exist, in order to access essential services, including social welfare, education, healthcare, legal rights, and so on. Without recognition, there's been restrictions on the Hmong culture and identity expression. In many instances, public teaching or discussion on the Hmong identity, history, and culture are limited or discouraged, especially when it falls outside officially recognized ethnic frameworks. Next, without recognition, there has been digital misrepresentations on the Hmong people. For example, if we are to search Hmong people in the Asia digital platform, right through search engine as an example, Hmong people is either not found or being classified as part of the Mongolian. Conflating the identity of Mongolian and the identity of Hmong undermines both communities. In another example, if we are to search Hmong people or Hmong identity, Hmong ethnic in the West digital platforms, Google search engine as an example, Google misrepresent our Hmong people for being the Hmong male people. Google also misrepresent our Hmong name for derogatory terms and negative meanings. This has created inflicting harms on our people that has led to emotionally distress, low self-esteem, internalized racism, and diminished sense of belonging. Last but not least, without recognition, there has been no demographic data documenting the Hmong population globally. Our Hmong people are not being counted. We are being excluded. There is no study or research on the Hmong people. We are not being supported in any policy framework. Without data, our Hmong people basically doesn't exist. So let us look at the legal and human rights framework. The United Nations and the international conventions all collectively define the rights of all people, distinct people, to be recognized based on their self-defined identities, their culture, and their self-determination. With these rights and principles, the Hmong people has the right to self-determination and recognition. It's important for the international communities to recognize the Hmong, so our history and culture can be taught in the public education as belonging to us. That will help us to protect and preserve our culture and history. That will pave the way for educational institutions to study, research specifically on the Hmong. Most importantly, that will allow our people to be freely and equally, as with other communities, to participate in social, economic, and cultural life. So, in conclusion, the Hmong are distinct people from other groups. This is not about separation. It's about human rights. It's about self-determination, the right to exist, the right to protect our history and culture. Classification issues and misrepresentations has inflicted lasting harm on the Hmong, has violated the Hmong human rights. We, the Hmong people, call upon the United Kingdom and the international communities to address the atrocity and harms done to the Hmong, and to take actions to completely eliminate the derogatory usage of the name Hmong. Most importantly, to recognize Hmong as a distinct people in the English language, English dictionaries, literatures, educational platforms, and the internet. The call for recognition on the Hmong people is very clear and measured. It's not a challenge to the dominance of any nation or national groups, but a plea for self-determination. What is needed is inclusion that is based on the Hmong name, our history and culture, and most importantly, a commitment from entities such as CNS, universities, national systems, along with the international community to recognize the Hmong people and to assure no people is marginalized or erased. Thank you.
Thank you.